What is going on, everyone? It's Ultimate Spy 53 here, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed number 99. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the movie Son of the Mask, the sequel to The Mask.
So what can I say about Son of the Mask? Well, I liked it, actually. Despite what it said on Rotten Tomatoes. Actually, I'm not gonna say it was a good movie. No, it wasn't a good movie, but it was a movie that is fun, and it's funny, and it's wacky, just like the first one. And yeah, I kind of understand why it got 6% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a really low score. Like a lot of everybody got that. But basically, a lot of terrible movies get this score, and I know why. It was the overuse of CGI. They kind of overhyped the CGI a little bit too much. The baby scenes, like most of the baby scenes, was CGI, and the dogs, like the mask itself was CGI. A lot of it was CGI. That's the crazy part about it. But I don't think it was that bad. Now, I guess before, I don't think it was a good movie at all. But I definitely don't think it was a bad movie. Like, it was a good movie, but it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a completely terrible movie. It's still enjoyable. I mean, there's still some good parts about it. I like the plot. I like the goofy aspect of it. It's very much after the first movie, and it takes place about 10 years after, after Stanley Ipkiss throws the mask into the river. It then washes up 10 years later, and this dog, the one that is by Otis, like he's the dog, and he picks it up, and then it ends up landing in this cartoonist who like doesn't realize what he's in for, because he's like these cartoonists who working for a place or something, and he's basically making his character, which is the mask, basically. And that's the really crazy part about it. He's basically, writing about the adventures of a mask, which is basically a superhero guy in a green mask or something. It's weird, but I mean, it does connect to the first one in a little bit, just not a whole lot. Like it's standalone in its own way, meaning it doesn't connect to the first one like hardly at all. I mean, it does call back to it because Loki, like I said last week, Loki was mentioned in the first one, but the only characters that actually make an appearance in this one is the professor who wrote the book, the very boring teacher guy in the Wonder Years. Now, I still think it was an okay movie, but it still has that wackiness in the first one, like the animation, the eyes popping out, the stretch, everything stretching, the CGI of the baby. I thought that was a little weird. There's a part where he sits in front of the TV, and he's watching this cartoon, and it makes him go crazy. It makes him like start singing, and it's weird. But how he's made is the cartoonist doesn't really want a baby, but the mom does, and so he discovers the mask. He makes the mask, and kind of like how Stanley Ipkiss did it in the first one, where he puts it on not realizing what it is, and then he basically becomes, well, not exactly like Stanley Ipkiss' character. Of course, he does still not close his lips. He's literally just like bare teeth. Of course, in this case, the lips aren't great. They're actually red, which is weird. I don't know what the whole thing was like. Why change the color? Is it all that important? I don't know. I mean, it looks really. I don't know. Like, the hair was very different than what you saw in the movie, because in the first movie there was no hair, and in this movie there's actual hair, and the hair looks like exactly like. So if you think of Santa Claus 2, where they had that toy Santa, like the hair like all plastic, everything. That's exactly how it was. The hair was plastic, and that was the crazy part about it. But yeah, I thought it was very strange, and like in this particular movie, it felt like a lot of stretching. A lot of stretching was happening, and it has the same kind of thing as the first movie, where the eyes pop out, everything like that. There's even a scene where the mask, portrayed by this guy called Tim, who's the animator in the movie, who's he's like the guy who's discovered he has a baby and everything, and he, as the mask, he basically like turns this girl into this beautiful woman who's basically the crush of the other guy, who's this Indian guy who's also known. He was in House and everything, but he's an actor also. And honestly, without summarizing the whole plot, I'm trying to basically get the basics of it. He goes crazy. He discovers the baby actually has powers. He like CGI wise, he messes up everything. He's trying to like draw and he's just taking a baby. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I didn't have any problems with it. But I'm not saying it was a bad movie. But it 6% is a bit too much. I think that's not. It's like, oh, this movie sucks. It doesn't suck. If you think this sucks, I mean, the first movie was great. The second movie was, well, I wouldn't say it was a good movie, but it definitely was not 6%. Come on, give me a break. It's not that bad. I did enjoy the character of Loki, because he was mentioned in the first movie, and he came in this movie, and they also had Odin, who basically takes his powers away, and that was a really cool part about the movie was the fact that Odin was in it. But overall, I think it was funny, and it was goofy, wacky, just like the first one, but it had that, I don't know, like, it felt newer, obviously, because it came out in 2005, so it's a bit newer, but see, it didn't get it got a endless sequel, meaning it is a sequel that stands on its own. Like, it doesn't really have much to do with the first one, except maybe a little bit. So that was the really crazy part about it. But I mean, it has the same wacky stuff like that. Put the mouse gun, you go, Tasmanian devil, and you go crazy, everything. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that the plot was interesting. I thought it was really gross because there's a scene where you have the baby and Loki doing Twister, and it's disgusting. But yeah, I felt it was crazy. It was wacky. It was a little bit like the first one, if you think about it. It had that first movie vibe too, but it wasn't the same movie. Especially considering that it was supposed to be a sequel and it wasn't really. Well, it connects in a way, like it connects to the first one by being a sequel where the mask goes from this character to this character, while also Loki, the guy Mischief, decides to step on in the party, and he's actually played by Alan Cumming, who was in Spectre movies. He was in the first movie. He played Sloop in that movie, and I've only seen him in one other movie. That was X-Men 2. He played Nightcrawler, the older version of Nightcrawler, and he did a pretty good job. I felt like I think people might have complained about the acting or the writing or the CGI. I don't really care about that, honestly. I don't really see any problems with acting or writing. I don't even see it. I don't really notice it at all. I don't really care. It's literally, for me, when I see a movie, it's literally just a movie. It's like, ooh, I see a trailer, it looks amazing, and then it turns out, that people don't like the writing for some reason. I don't really understand writing. People don't like the acting. People don't like, CGI, even if it's really good CGI. People complain that the CGI for Star Wars for Yoda was terrible, or the CGI for any movie kind of like that, it's terrible. It's not that bad. Come on, give it a break. It's 2005 CGI. You gotta give it a break. CGI, obviously, I mean, you think of CGI from the 90s. You look at CGI in the early 2000s, like this movie. It's a lot of difference, and I think the only complaint I have about this movie is the CGI mainly. I thought it was a little weird, having the baby, well, not talk a lot. He can he talked a little bit there was a point where and I want to say even in the trailer, but there was a point in the movie where the dad, Tim, he tries to get his baby to talk, but he doesn't want to talk, so he keeps trying to make him say dada, and he doesn't want to, the baby doesn't want to do that, so he eventually, he just has mother. He speaks in this very adult voice, mother. It's weird. It's really creepy, actually. There's also this scene where he in the car, shortly after Loki, because there's the whole plot, there's a whole thing with Loki's he's played by Alan Cumming. He has this weird ass haircut. Basically, it's picture Brock from so picture Brock. He's this weird hairstyle. This is what he looks like in the movie part of it. Picture Brock, the spiky hair. She's that exact kind of hairstyle, except it's not it's looped, it's bent over. It's weird. I don't know. It's really weird. But there's a character. There's a scene where he goes he's he's on a mission by Odin to retrieve the mask, and it turns out that there's a baby that has a mask, and so he's on a mission to track down a bunch of homes that have babies that were born on this exact day, and so he goes You feel like he does evil, he does crazy things to people, and eventually he discovers that this baby is the one with the mask. And so there's a scene where Tim is trying to like, he's going crazy because his baby's going crazy, and so he turns around trying to let him talk to his baby, like telling him to stop or whatever. And shortly before he sprays him with a bunch of like green acid or something, it's disgusting. It's like probably there's green throw up essentially. He does like the creepy doll thing where he turns his head 380 degrees. It's so creepy. And I think that was one of the things that made me really go like, ugh, you know. So that's where it's like they over CGI'd it. Like, I think with CGI in the early 2000s, it was okay, and it wasn't the best that it had. It was, you know, of course CGI got better, but like, obviously it wasn't the best movie for a CGI to have in it, because they overused it. They used CGI on the dog. They used CGI on the moments when the mask was needed, like because the mask as a character, he's basically a superhero who has all these crazy wacky abilities, and also Loki has it too. But he's more like the antagonist of the movie essentially, and so I felt that with CGI was a little unnecessary because a good portion of the movie the dog is like doing his like. There's a big arc in the movie where the dog is doing like kind of the Roadrunner Wild Coyote kind of thing, where he's trying to like compete against the baby for the dad and mom's attention, so that he can be like the good dog. And so he puts the mask on, and then he becomes not quite as crazy as the previous dog in the first movie, which was the same breed, because he goes crazy. He literally is the Wild Coyote, and the baby is literally, well, baby's Avery, but he's literally Wild Coyote. Well, he's not like that, but like that's the relationship that the characters share, is like the dog is trying to do all these Wild Coyote stuff, and the baby won't let him because he doesn't want to do it. But I felt that was a bit too much, because I thought the first movie had when they did the CGI, I thought it was goofy, but it wasn't over the top and crazy. So I can understand why you got 6%. I think that's the only thing wrong with the movie, was the fact that it had overuse of CGI. And it's like, you know, it's goofy just like the first one, but it's also like, you don't need to use CGI on every, like the baby's face. There's a lot of moments where the baby has a face, like where the baby's running around like Quicksilver. There's a whole scene where the baby is running around the Tim's office, his animation room, and he's literally running around like Quicksilver does in Days of Future Past X-Men, and you can see the real face of the baby. It might be even a little bit CGI, but you can see it isn't terrible, but it's just like, it's weird, you know. It's just like when you over CGI something, it doesn't look right, you know. It just looks like, what's going on here? Why do you need to put so much CGI? Like, kind of like with The Hobbit, where they over CGI everything. It's like, I feel like, you know, a movie like Jurassic Park, for example, which came out like, well, it came out about 12 years before this movie came out. It came out a year after the first one, but it came out 12 years before this movie came out. And so, like, the CGI on that movie was actually really good, even for a 90s movie. CGI was amazing, because you could actually, the dinosaurs look realistic, and obviously the dinosaurs look realistic in the new movie coming out. But I felt like if you over CGI something, it just doesn't look good. I've seen a lot of examples of movies where they over CGI everything, and they make like the entire face is CGI, like the entire character is CGI. I mean, I'm not giving Star Wars as an example because that doesn't count, because that wasn't a bad movie in my opinion. But I just felt like this movie didn't need to use that much CGI. I mean, I get it. The mask, it makes you go crazy. It gives the wearer abilities. It's like, oh, we need to have CGI on this. But every time the mask is used, CGI has to happen. Or every time the mask is put on, you know, there's the whole Tasmanian devil thing where it goes, you know, spinning crazy like a twister, everything. It's crazy, and then anything like that. And I felt that was weird. Also, I didn't like, you know, Tim's version of the mask. Like when he puts the mask on for the first time, because essentially he's like the new mask, and so he's almost treated like the same like Stanley was treated in the first one, where he puts the mask on, people realize, you know, people getting kind of who he is, and basically this he's essentially the exact same personality as the first one, except he's not quite. He's not as, I don't know, weird, but I didn't like the way they did them. You know, I didn't like the way they you know, created the character of that mask, the Tim Avery version, because it just looks weird. You get this plastic hair, and he actually takes off a part of his face. And there's also a scene, speaking of taking off the face, there's a scene in the very beginning of the movie where the professor, the guy who studies like the pathology and also the mask itself, and also he did write a book on it. The very beginning of the movie, Loki basically literally takes his face off, kind of like the Doctor Who episode where their faces just vanish. That is creepy. It's like, ooh, you know, that's a lot of things that was just ooh, but there's a lot of good things too, like the powers of the mask. I found that really funny. I found the goofiness of the movie really fun. I found it goofy. It was hysterical, and you know, the plot of the movie was very fun. I liked Loki. He was very interesting villain. Nothing like the Marvel Comics version, like the one in the MCU guys. Nothing like that. But I liked the characters in the movie. I liked the relationship of, you know, the dad and the mom and the baby, you know, and overall I liked the plot of it. It was a really interesting plot, and the fact that Loki has all these powers. I think the best part of the movie has got to be the powers in general, just what they can do. There's a lot of callbacks to the first one where you know, you have the Tim Avery version of the mask where he like unleashes all these guns, and it like turns into like, you know, these rockets or these crazy things like that. And kind of like that, where the first one did the exact same thing where he unloaded a bunch of guns, and that was exactly like that. But yeah, honestly, that's the only thing I can really say about the movie that I liked about it was the use of you know, powers or abilities and animation used for it, because it is a sequel, but even though it doesn't connect a lot to the first one, and it's not a way like, you know, you have the mask, you have the professor, you have Loki himself. Those are pretty much the only things that really connect to the first one to the second one. And the dog, yeah, he's the same breed, but he's not the same dog. Yeah. Otis. He is a completely different dog from the first one, even though he's the same breed. So he's a new dog who looks exactly the same as the dog in the first one. Same breed, but he's not the same dog because he's obviously, you know, this guy's dog. But yeah, I thought it was a good couple, you know, all callbacks to the first one, especially, you know, the eyes popping out of the sockets. A lot of that was a couple of scenes where that happened. You know, where the dog is doing all these crazy things. I also thought that it was weird how the baby started dancing to this is an old show that he was like, it was cartoon shows that he was watching. It's just weird. But also, speaking of cartoons, it was because the movie itself, the plot, you know, the character of Tim Avery, he's an animator himself, and so I liked how it was interesting how there was like it was at least a 30 seconds to a minute of just, I don't know, this cartoon, and it was really cool. I liked that part. I found it interesting. I didn't love it, but I was just like, huh, how interesting, kind of thing. You know, I didn't expect it. So, yeah. Overall, Son of the Mask, it wasn't a bad movie, but it also wasn't good. But still, 6%. I could say maybe 20%, but 6%. That's maybe a bit much. But yeah, overall, I like the movie. I like at the end how Odin and Loki he's. Because in the Norse mythology, Loki, you know, he's always the son who's feeling Odin and everything. I liked how the end of that was like very, you know, very interesting. It was a really you know, nice little touch to the movie. But that's all I can say about Son of the Mask. It deserves way more than it got. It isn't a terrible movie, but it also isn't a good movie. It's like you have a scale. You have a terrible here and good and good here. It is like right here. It is like it's not terrible. It's not terrible, but it isn't good. So that's pretty much how I would say it. But anyway, but that does it for my review on Son of the Mask. As for the rating system, I think I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10 because of the amount of CGI that was used for this movie. I thought it was a bit over. The overuse of CGI was a bit too much. It didn't need that much CGI. Even for a movie that was, you know, with this kind of with the kind of character they have in the mask, it just didn't need that. But yeah, that's all I really can say. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Reviewed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I really do appreciate the support. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe for more episodes of this series and other series I do, as well as other great content. And I'll be back next time with another episode. Alright? See ya.